Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to the channel. This is lecture number 3 of active and passive voice. Today we will learn the passive voice in the past tense. In this lecture we will go through some examples to understand what is the use of past tense in a passive voice. Then we will go through some rules and let's start the today's lesson. Past indefinite tense, as we know that this tense shows some activities or actions that were performed in past time. We go through the active voice of past tense. The first example is I told a story to the children before going to bed. I told a story. So we see that I is the subject and told is the second form or the past form of the verb tell. A story. So a story is the object here. To the children before going to bed. This is the phrasal part of the sentence. So now we change it into the passive voice. A story which was object in the active voice, we have replaced it with the subject. We have taken it to the place of subject. Then we use the past form of the helping verb was. Then third form of the main verb told to the children by me before going to bed. So by me is basically, it was the subject in the active voice. We have changed I into me in the passive voice, and we have added by in the passive voice. So we read it again. The active voice of the sentence was I told a story to the children before going to bed. A story was told to the children by me before going to the bed. Next, he hunted a deer last week. He hunted a deer last week. He subject है. Hunted is the verb, second form. A deer is the object of the active voice. Now we replace object and subject. A deer, which was object here, we have replaced it with the subject. A deer was hunted. Was helping verb यूज किया हमने. Hunted थर्ड फॉर्म यूज की है. By him last week. और he को हमने him में चेंज कर दिया. Next example. We served the people dedicatedly. We served the people. These three things are available जिनको हम यूज करते हैं पैसिव वॉइस बनाने के लिए. सब्जेक्ट वर्ब एंड ऑब्जेक्ट. सो ऑब्जेक्ट सबसे पहले आ जाएगा. पीपल वर सर्व्ड बाय अस. सो वी को हमने अस में चेंज किया है और वर्ड यूज किया है प्लूरल की वजह से, और थर्ड फॉर्म ऑफ द वर्ब यूज किया हमने. पीपल वर सर्व्ड बाय अस डेडिकेटेडली. एडवर्ब है, इसको हमने अपनी जगह पे रहने दिया है. नेक्स्ट एग्जांपल इज The boys did not follow instructions. The boys did not follow instruction. This is a negative sentence. We change it into a passive voice. Instructions were not followed by the boys. Instructions were not followed by the boys. We go through some more examples of the past indefinite tense or simple past tense. You visited library last evening. You visited library last evening. Library was visited by you last evening. Next sentence is she stitched dresses neatly. She stitched dresses neatly. Dresses were stitched by her neatly. Dresses were stitched by her neatly. Next example is the police protected people from robbers. The police protected people from robbers. The people were protected by police from robbers. The people were protected by police from robbers. Did they not speak English in the class? So this negative interrogative. Did they not speak English in the class? तो जब हम इसको पैसिव में चेंज करेंगे तो पैसिव भी इंटरोगेटिव नेगेटिव होना चाहिए. हमारे पास यहाँ पर सब्जेक्ट है दे और जो ऑब्जेक्ट था वो इंग्लिश है, सो इंग्लिश इज सिंगुलर, तो सिंगुलर में हम पैसिव वॉइस में वाज यूज करते हैं. सो वाज इंग्लिश नॉट स्पोकन बाय देम इन द क्लास, was English not spoken by them in the class. So we have gone through the examples and now we try to understand what rules we have followed. We have replaced subject and object that we have already learned in previous tense, present tense में भी हमने ऐसे ही किया था, तो तमाम passive voice में ऐसे ही होगा. Use third form of the verbs, this is the same rule. Use helping verbs was and were. So present और past में ये डिफरेंस है. प्रेजेंट टेंस में हमने is am are यूज़ किया था और उसके बाद परफेक्ट टेंस में has been और have been यूज़ किया था. जब पास्ट टेंस में आ जाते हैं तो सिंपल पास्ट में हम was और were यूज़ करते हैं, और जब पास्ट परफेक्ट में चले जाएंगे वहाँ had been यूज़ करेंगे. सो सिंपल पास्ट में और पास्ट कंटिन्यूस दोनों में आप हेल्पिंग वर्ब was और were यूज़ करेंगे. Add by before the object in passive voice. जब हमने सब्जेक्ट को ऑब्जेक्ट की जगह ले जाना है तो उससे पहले बाय का वर्ड यूज़ करना है. चेंज सब्जेक्टिव फॉर्म ऑफ प्रोनाउन टू द ऑब्जेक्टिव फॉर्म. हमने ये रूल ऑलरेडी पढ़ा है कि किस तरह से जब सब्जेक्ट ऑब्जेक्ट की जगह पे चला जाए तो उसका फॉर्म या उसकी जो फॉर्म है या उसका केस है वो कैसे चेंज होता है. सो अगेन वी गो थ्रू द प्रोनाउन चेंजेस. अगर आपके पास सब्जेक्ट I है then we will take it, when we will take it to the object position it will become me. We into us, you will remain the same, there will be no change for you. He will be changed into him, she will be changed into her, and they will be changed into them, and rest of the pronouns will remain the same. Okay, the next aspect of the past tense is past continuous tense. We go through some examples, then we will find the rules. The first example is I was writing a story to publish in the newspaper. I was writing a story to publish in the newspaper. So past continuous is referring to some event that was started in the past and that completed in the past. Okay, ये माजी में ही स्टार्ट हुआ और माजी में ही कंप्लीट हो गया. Such sentences are being used in the past continuous tense. So I was writing a story to publish in the newspaper. I subject है, was writing आपके पास verb है, helping verb and verb. Story is the object. So a story is in the beginning in the passive voice. A story was being written. So क्या changes हैं यहाँ पे? हमने being का word add किया है और third form of the verb use की है. एक्टिव वॉइस में हम आईएनजी फॉर्म यूज़ कर रहे हैं पास्ट कंटिन्यूस में, और जब पैसिव में चेंज करते हैं तो बीइंग और थर्ड फॉर्म. तो तमाम कंटिन्यूस टेंसेस को जब पैसिव में कन्वर्ट करते हैं तो वर्ब की थर्ड फॉर्म से पहले बीइंग का वर्ड ऐड किया जाता है. सो अ स्टोरी वाज बीइंग रिटन बाय मी टू पब्लिश इन द न्यूज़पेपर. वी गो थ्रू द नेक्स्ट एग्जांपल. ही वाज कॉलिंग हिज फ्रेंड टू हेल्प हिम. He was calling his friend to help him. His friend was being called by him to help him. His friend was being called by him to help him. Next example. We were serving the people dedicatedly. We were serving the people dedicatedly. The people were being served dedicatedly by us. People were being served dedicatedly by us. Was Ali eating pizza at the restaurant? Was Ali eating pizza at restaurant? So this is the interrogative sentence. It will remain interrogative and passive as well. Was pizza eaten by Ali at the restaurant? Was pizza eaten by Ali at the restaurant? There are a few more examples. You were teaching English in a better way. You were teaching English. English was being taught by you in a better way. English was being taught by you in a better way. She was stitching dresses neatly. She was stitching dresses neatly. Dresses were being stitched by her neatly. Dresses were being stitched by her neatly. The police were protecting people from robbers. The police were protecting people from robbers. The people were being protected by the police from robbers. Next example. The shopkeeper was not selling goods at low price. The shopkeeper was not selling goods at low price. The goods were not being sold by the shopkeeper at low price. The goods were not being sold at low price by the shopkeeper. Both are correct. So what rules we have followed to change the active voice into passive in past continuous tense? Subject and object are interchanged. The same rule. Use third form of the verb. This is the same rule. Add word being before the third form of verb. We use third form of the verb in all the passive voice, but in continuous tenses we add another word before the third form of the verb, that is being. Use helping verbs was and were. We use was for singular or first person singular, first person singular I, second person singular he, she, it, and were is used with the second person pronoun you and third person plural they, and first person plural we. The next rule is add by before object in passive voice. This is the same rule. Change subjective form of pronoun to the objective form. We have already gone through it. So the last aspect of the past tense that we can change from active to passive is past perfect tense. We go through some examples. I had written a story for newspaper. I had written a story for newspaper. A story had been written by me for newspaper. So we try to understand I had written. एक्टिव वॉइस पास्ट परफेक्ट में हम यूज़ करते हैं हैड हेल्पिंग वर्ब यूज़ होता है और थर्ड फॉर्म ऑफ द वर्ब यूज़ की जा रही है, जबकि इसको पैसिव में चेंज करते हुए हैड के साथ बीन का वर्ड इजाफा किया हमने और रिटन इज़ द थर्ड फॉर्म ऑफ द वर्ब. सो I had written a story had been written by me for newspaper. Next example. He had helped his friend had been helped by him. His friend had been helped by him. We had served the people had been served by us. The people had been served by us. The students had not taken their exams. The students had not taken their exams. Exams had not been taken by the students. Exams had not been taken by the students. This is the negative sentence. A few more examples of past perfect tense. You had completed the task on time. The task had been completed on time by you. The task had been completed on time by you. The police had arrested the robbers. The police had arrested the robbers. The robbers had been arrested by the police. The robbers had been arrested by the police. Had the flood destroyed everything? The interrogative sentence. Had the flood destroyed everything? Had everything been destroyed? Oh, there is a word missing. Had everything been destroyed? Here it is. Had everything been destroyed by the flood? Had everything been destroyed by the flood? So we go through the rules for past perfect tense to change active voice to the passive voice. We replace subject and object. Use third form of the verb. Use had as a helping verb. यहाँ पे helping verb हमने had use करना है और had के साथ been भी use करना है. Had been use करेंगे. We use had been. Use had been as a helping verb. Add by before object in passive voice. और passive voice में आपने by use करना है object से पहले. Change subjective form of pronoun to the objective form. We have already gone through this rule. So this is the end of the lesson. I hope you have understood how to change the active voice of the past tense into the passive voice, and please remember that the past perfect continuous tense and the present perfect continuous cannot be changed into the passive voice. Next lesson will be about the passive voice of the future tense. Don't forget to subscribe the channel so that you can get the new videos. Like and share this video with your colleagues and friends. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.